PAILS and rails and 90-90 for hip internal rotation. So let's go ahead and set up in our base position of 90-90. Right leg is forward and left leg is back. If you are having trouble getting cozy in this position, I suggest that you take your right hand and just kickstand directly out to the side. If you're feeling any pinching, this will help alleviate any pinching in the closing angle here. First step of PAILS and rails is our 2-minute passive stretch. So we're going to be finding our passive stretch with our left leg. We do that by thinking of sitting our left butt cheek down to the mat. And I'm doing this by rotating my pelvis down to the mat and not my spine. So find that rotation by rotating the pelvis on the femur. Once you get to that end range, you should start to feel a deep capsular stretch here. It's hard to just pinpoint one area, but if you're feeling it along the lines of here, then you are correct. Don't worry about what the right knee is doing. If it lifts up or if you need to move the heel in, that is quite fine. Most of our focus is on this left hip here. Once you've found that stretch, you'll hold it for 2 minutes. While we hold our 2-minute stretch, I'm going to talk through our PAILS and rails contractions. So our PAILS contractions is contracting the lengthened tissues. Remember, these are isometric contractions, so the goal is not to move our limbs, but to contract only the tissues that we're focusing on. Intent is important. So to find our PAILS contractions, just a visual feedback, you are going to think about driving the inside of the left ankle down into the floor. Start off with extremely low effort, maybe 10% of your effort. It's almost as if you try to lift your foot off of the floor, but you are fighting to keep that heel down with 10% effort. If you're having trouble finding internal connection or connection to the tissues that we're trying to contract, close your eyes and find it. Don't worry about how it looks or trying to match how I look. Feeling is going to be more important. So we'll kind of turn up the dial of our effort and contraction here. I'm at about 10%, and I'm going to turn up that dial to about 20% contraction of our PAILS contraction, driving the inside of the left heel into the floor. It looks like I'm doing virtually nothing, but I'm really concentrating on pressing the inside of my ankle into the floor, almost as if I'm trying to do external rotation, that movement going this way into the ground, but I'm already at my end range, so nothing should move. I'm going to turn the dial up to about 35%. Now, if 20% was your max effort, don't go past that. That is your body's max. That's the amount of effort that your body can produce in this position, and this is a skill and it will take practice. So listen to your body. You're going to come to your greatest and safest effort of contraction for that PAILS. Almost you should feel your left knee getting pretty light into the floor. So I'm really, really pressing the inside of my left heel down into the floor. A lot of tension and contraction in the outside of the hip here. I'll hold it for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, focusing on pressing the inner heel. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I slowly release my effort, and then immediately I go and find my rails contraction. Rails is like you are trying to lift the foot and ankle off of the floor. Now, what we don't want to happen is the pelvis dumping forward because we are trying to find rotation in the hip capsule only. So if you're like me and can't find any connection to rails contraction in this position, what I like to do is about a half an inch, maybe a millimeter, take myself out of the stretch ever so slightly, and then try to attempt to lift off, and then I can really feel those tissues contract. I'm going to hold it for 10, 9, 8, making sure I'm not dumping my pelvis forward, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release that effort. Sit deeper into your stretch. See if you gained any more range of motion, flexibility into your internal rotation. Sit the left butt cheek deeper into the floor. And then you would go into your second set. If this is your first time doing it, I recommend just doing one set. If you're feeling pretty comfortable and capable, you can go into a second set. For the second set, you don't have to hold a 2-minute stretch, maybe just 30 seconds. You'll go into your PAILS contraction like before. PAILS contraction, just for a refresher, is like you're trying to do external rotation into the floor, but nothing is moving. Rails contraction is like you're trying to do internal. You're just trying to bring yourself deeper into that internal rotation. Rails, PAILS, nothing is moving. Only contract the tissues.